What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about what we know so far on the Xbox Series S. I also want to talk about what the PS5 needs to kind of do to counter them. So this was probably not the way Microsoft envisioned this, right? Being leaked last night, and then them basically at midnight, having to just drop, hey, yeah, that is actually our console, our long-rumored console, and yeah, that is the price. It is $299. So let's go over this, okay? We have the Xbox Series X, and we don't know the price yet. Seems very, very likely it's going to be $400. There were rumors, and funny enough, I actually did a Twitter post, and I said, right before this stuff got leaked, and I said, does it make sense that the Series X would be $600 like some have reported? I mean, there's actually a lot of reports saying that it could be $600, but I really don't think that makes a lot of sense when your digital version costs only $300. Now, the problem that actually kind of makes $600 still possible, very unlikely, in my opinion, very unlikely, but possible, is the fact that this Series S is not really the digital version of the Series X. Now, this kind of goes into a more long discussion of how I think these Xbox consoles are just the most confusing things humanly possible. It's already getting confused online with trending with the Xbox One X. People are already getting confused on a wider scale. That's something you do have to keep in mind too. And I don't want to spend too much time with it, but I do want to kind of laugh at it in a way. And I'm not laughing at Microsoft. I'm laughing, I don't know, with the collective community where it's like, look, at the end of the day, we're all gamers, okay? People that are watching this video, we all know what's what. But people outside of the gaming universe, when they're going out to buy their console, and you have the Xbox Series S, you have the Series X, you're going to probably have the Series X digital, which we'll talk about in a second. You still have the Xbox One X and technically One X. I mean, you have all of these different versions. Honestly, I'm confused. I don't even know what version of Xbox I have right now. And so that, that alone is very, very confusing, I think, to a general consumer. But alas, look, I don't want to take away from them because the general point is $300 is a fantastic price. To have the Series S for $300 is fantastic. It does go to my question that I actually asked, I believe, in a video months ago where I said, look, again, nothing against the Xbox Series S, but what exactly can it do? Because it's only $300, it's all digital, and I know we've had reports of what it can run games at, and it seems like it's actually a pretty strong console, maybe akin to, like, just a little bit higher than the Xbox One X, like somewhere in between the Xbox One X and the Series X. And if you guys know the answer, definitely, answer it for me in the comments. My concern is, will this console be able to do things or run games like years down the line? So in 2, 3, 4 years, okay? When we even get let's do Microsoft exclusives even. When we do Fable, when we do like the next Gears, when we do all these really high-profile games, is it going to be able to run it like as well as the Series X? There's no way it can, right? Because it's not half the price, but say Series X is $400, maybe $450. Let's try and extend the price a little bit. Like, it's not that much of a difference, but will it be able to do it? I guess your answer could be yes if it's $300 and the Series X is $400, because you could look at the same, you could say, okay, well, a good comparison is Sony. PS5, say PS5 is $500, and then the digital is $400. Well, that's a $100 difference, but you would expect the digital to do the same thing. It would just be interesting. Because if, say, the Series X is $500 and this digital version, this Series S, is $300, that's quite a gap. You know what I mean? And they're kind of marketing it too, and they always have, as this will be like a very easy jump. Like if you want to get into Xbox games, and I did see that. People did say that in the comments of that video that you could maybe look at this as simple as this is for people that want to get into the Xbox ecosystem, and this would be their first console. They could jump into it. And I would say that's a pretty solid thing overall. I'm not like massively concerned. I'm just curious if this is going to be able to handle like full on. So like say GTA 6, like in 2-3 years, like it's obviously going to harness a lot of power of next-gen systems. Does the Series S have that same power is basically my only question. If it does, fantastic. If it doesn't, that is a question. Another thing we know is it seems very, very likely that there's a third Xbox console in the wilderness somewhere. That there's and like I said, I've been hinting at this whole video. So there's the Series S, which is all digital, but it does not seem like it is the digital version of the Series X. It's just an all-digital console. There's the Series X, and then there's another console, which is rumored to be a digital version of the Series X. Now, again, let me tell you something. That right there kind of, to me, breaks the entire thing. Not in terms of value, not in terms of, like, yeah, they're giving people lots of different options, but I mean, flat out, you cannot market 3 consoles at this. I mean, you really, I just said flat out. Let me say flat out again. Flat out, you cannot do that. You can't market 3 different consoles at the same time. It gets too confusing to the consumers. To do a digital version and a disc version of the same basic thing, and you say, okay, the digital is $100, is $50, is whatever cheaper, that's easy. You could do that. Sony's doing it. Microsoft could do it too. And I guess, again, if you want to take, a defense of them, which I have no problem, and even, I'm doing it right now. Let me offer up a solution. It wouldn't be maybe it's not the worst thing in the world, because they could say, okay, you have the Series X, and then you have the digital Series X, and those are, I don't know, $500 and $400. And then you also have Lockhart, which is $300. Again, although it's just a little confusing because everybody thought this Lockhart was the digital version of Series X, and it seems like it's not. It seems like there's actually another one that's a digital version. So that is confusing. And, some people are saying, and again, I'll take defense of Microsoft here, actually. So for you people that say that I'm a Microsoft hater, let me offer up some, praise for them. I think this actually, it was leaked and they did not plan it, and that maybe looks bad, but I think overall, yes, they went first, so you could say, if they were playing a game of chicken, Microsoft budged first, rather than Sony. If you want to give that to Sony, you could. I honestly, you could, again, people call me Sony fanboy, I'd give it to Microsoft because, honestly, with this Series S, there's no way Sony beats it in terms of price. Now, again, what the systems can do, what Sony maybe has up its sleeves, all that kind of stuff, that's yet to be decided. But in terms of price, I mean, that's exactly what I was saying a few days ago, even, right, when we were talking about the frustration of next-gen consoles. One of the things I said is, look, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter which console comes out first. I don't really think that's going to dominate sales. And secondly, the price, I think Microsoft is going to win. I think Microsoft's consoles are going to be cheaper, so I don't really know why there is a game of chicken between Microsoft and Sony when, in all reality, Microsoft, they're just going to be able to win anyway. So this, again, while it was leaked, while it was unplanned, there's really nothing Sony, can do. So in terms of this video, what Sony can do to match it, I think at the end of the day, the biggest thing Sony has on their side is the games, is the content. You could argue, and I have seen people say it online too, price is great for Xbox, the release date being first is great, but what do you have to play on it? The medium, that's it. Tetris Effect. I mean, you know what I mean? There's very, very few games. And again, there will be games. I'm not anti-Microsoft, but in terms of a discussion of how PlayStation can counter, I think the only thing you can do is push what you have. They are not going to win, most likely on release date, and I think almost guaranteed in price, Sony will not win. It probably will just be more expensive. But the thing is, you have to prove, well, why is it more expensive? You know what I mean? It is actually tough considering Microsoft keeps saying, over and over again, we're the world's, this is the most powerful, console, the Series X. So that's tough. Sony has to kind of say, well, yeah, it can do this and this, but we do this stuff better. So maybe you're more powerful in this way, but we're more powerful in that way, and maybe that's why it's more expensive. That's one thing they can do. They have to really, and I think that's just a general case for these companies. If something is more expensive, they have to make it very, very clear why it's more expensive, right? And normally they do that by gloating. Normally they do that by saying, well, we can do this, and the other console can't, okay? So that's one thing. And then again, the games. You push the games hard, and that's what Sony has. They have Ratchet & Clank. They have Demon Souls. They have Spider-Man Miles Morales. They have Kenna Bridge of Spirits. You have all, and those are just possibly launched games, right? And you have so many more. Horizon Forbidden West, all of these games. I mean, Sony's got the games. And they're honestly, in my opinion, so to go more quote-unquote Sony fanboy, in my opinion, that's why I buy a console, okay? I'm going to end up buying both at the end of the day, but I play a console for its games. That's pretty much it, okay? It doesn't matter which one. If Xbox has good games, I will buy an Xbox to play those games. If Nintendo has good games, you know what I mean? And I obviously have those, but that's just generally how my brain works. I'm not into console wars. I'm not part of it. I'm into just give me games, and then I hope the consoles do well. I hope the companies do well where they make money, and so they can give me more games. It's pretty much the only thing I want, and then I will give them money. You know what I mean? It's a big circle of life. So, overall, massive. This is not how I expected a Monday night at Labor Day to go down with this leak, but now we start to get some info. Does PlayStation 5 pre-orders happen this week? That's one way of doing it, where you could say, okay, well, they leaked by accident, they leaked their Series S, and they're talking about it, but they didn't talk too much about it. You know what? We're just going to say you can pre-order the PS5 right away. But you know what? By doing that, they're jumping first on the release date. So the question is, well, do they know that Microsoft is going November 10th? And so Sony's going to say, can we go November 10th as well? Can we go November 3rd? Can we go like November, whatever, what would be like the 6th? Like, what can we do? I think, honestly, it would be like the 6th, right? November 6th is the Friday. I guess they could do that. That would be something that I didn't really expect. I've always kind of expected PS5 to come later. I always thought November 17th, November 20th, somewhere in that week. In fact, those are the only 2 days of that week. I think that's still probably what they'll do, and maybe they'll just take the loss there. It'll be really interesting. This is obviously a very, with this happening today, yesterday, it's still obviously going on today, that I think this is making this week going to be a really, really exciting time. So guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? What do you think about the Series S? Do you think it's confusing like me? What do you think Microsoft's got up its sleeve for that Series X digital version? What do you think about the PS5? All that stuff, let me know in the comments below. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And thank you all so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. I hope to see you all on the next video.